Measuring the formants. Guys, we know that for the sonorous sounds, the formants are really important. And sonorous sounds are vowels, okay? So in this session, we are going to talk about the measurement of formants, and then we'll have a practical how to measure formants, right? We know that formants are the overtone resonances, right? And resonances are, for sonorous sounds, these are always in the vocal tract, right? In the filter, basically, okay? So, and we also know that F1 and F2 are really important in order to plot vowel sounds on a chart, because F1 is inversely related to the height of the tongue, and then F2 is positively related to the frontness of the tongue, right? So we are required to measure F1 and F2, all right? We know that the narrow bands of the spectrogram is required for measuring harmonics. On the other hand, the the wide band of the spectrogram is required for measuring formants, right? So that's the difference between the harmonics and formants. And formants are the characteristics of the sonorant speech sounds, and sonorous speech sounds are vowels, okay? And formants are basically visible on the spectrograms with the thick bands, right? There are thick bands, and those bands are basically darker. They are darker than the rest of the area, and they show the loudness, basically, okay? Because there is sonority maximum in those, bands, so that's why they are darker. And measuring F1 and F2 should be done from the middle of the vowel by using Prath. Okay, that's an important technique. And I would let you know that there are 3 ways to calculate formants, right? One is by listing, okay, while taking it automatically using through the feature of Prath. So that's a first method. And then there is second method when you just activate the formant button and then see the tracks, okay? Those red bands tracks, okay? And the formants are displayed by the Prath, okay? And there is one more possibility, and that is when you calculate formants manually. So we are going to go through the Prath, do the experiment, and learn how to calculate formants, how to measure formants by using these 3 ways. Okay, guys, so we are going to read the file from already recorded sound, and it is highlighted on my Prath objects window. I'm going to view and edit, and it's visible here. Okay, so just by selecting one portion of the
Muhammad Kamal.
Okay, sentence, so it is Muhammad Kamal, and I'm showing you the vowel A, which we have already used for some of the experiments. All right, so by zooming into A, let me show you more closely. All right, so this is the A vowel.
Mal.
Okay, it is from here to this portion. Okay, this is A vowel.
Mal.
A. All right, so it is there, and the requirement is that we should place our cursor in the middle of the vowel, okay? Although these formants are quite visible here, you see, the dark bands which are there, but as per the technique, I placed my cursor in the middle of the vowel, all right? And I would go to the formant, right? The show formants button. I'm going to activate this, enable this button, so it is enabled. And now you see that there are red dots, right? These are the red dots which are showing us with formants. This is formant 1, formant 2, formant 3, 4, and up to 5, okay? And we know that we really need this F1 and F2. That's the requirement for this lab, okay? So this is one of the way, okay? And when these dots are visible, we can click on the middle of the vowel and just on the middle of the red line, okay? So this red line, and it is there just on the left side of the window, this is showing 701 value for F1. Okay, this was the first method of calculating formant 1, right? Then there is the second way. The second way is when you go to the formant track button and then you click this formant listing. Okay, so when you click this, you will have a window, and this window is there. The window shows that F1 for the vowel, F2 up to F4. Okay, so F1 is there, F2 is there, F3 is there, and then F4 is there. Okay, so the first 4 formants are given automatically by Prath. Okay, and if you just compare with this value 701.4, which we took earlier by using this manual lining of the mouse, so that was 701.4, and it is automatically calculated by Prath 702. So you just see that how identical is this calculation. All right, although there might be the possibility of a little bit of the fluctuation in the values, but luckily we are having them quite similar here. So this was the second method of calculating formants. And the second one is, if you just see here, this is the second formant. Okay, the second formant, and then if you just compare it with the automatically taken formants, it is 1208.75. So just by considering 1208, right, and we just see it here from the middle, right? So the middle of the line is giving us 1205. Okay, so that is F2, right? And then there is one more possibility. If you just disable this button, okay, and use your own intuition. So this dark band, the first dark band is F1. So go to the middle of it, right? Just the middle of it, okay? And see that where it is, right? And then also you can see approximately from the second dark band, which is F2, right? So it is almost similar. You can have like in 700 F1 and then in 1200 F2, right? So this was the third way how to calculate formant manually. This was the manual way. One last point regarding this calculation. Let me show you the formants for A, 700 first, 1200 second, and 2700 the third one. Now, if you just remember those formants which were the properties of the American English for A sound, if you can have a look on those values from your textbook, when the recording was done by Peter Ledderfoget, then his calculation for the A vowel was 710, it was the F1, and then 1100 was F2, and then 2500 was F3. So you see how similar are the A sound in Pashto language, which is my mother tongue, how similar it is to the American A sound. So you can just go and work on such similarities and calculation by measuring F1 and F2, and scientifically, acoustically, you can just explain that what sounds are similar across languages and how are they different.